Welcome back to the Click Chick podcast. I'm back here with Kristen from In Bloom Photography. She was on last week's episode. If you listened to that, we just kind of jumped right into all of our gossip and photographer horror stories. If you haven't listened to it, listen to this episode and then go back and you'll know who Kristen is by then. But yeah, we kind of just skipped the intro because I knew we'd be doing it here. So let's jump right in. Tell us who you are, what you do, give us the whole vibe.
Yes. So I'm Kristen. I am new to North Carolina as of 2021, being in Florida most of my life. Previous to photography, had worked in like medicine, law enforcement, some crazy stuff, lived a million lives. And so now I am just cool, good old wedding photographer. I don't know.
I love you so much. Just a cool gal.
Just a cool thumbs up gal. That's the way I describe myself after a glass of wine.
Yeah, if you listen to the last episode, you know that we're filming these both on the same night. And we have dipped heavily into a bottle of rosé.
Yes, and
it's
I
a beautiful
love it.
thing.
I love it. This mom rarely gets to drink, so it's nice to, let a little loose, let the hair down.
Little girls' night out, getting some dinner after this. It's good. So how would you describe your photography style for people who haven't followed your Instagram yet?
I think that's a really good question. Because I feel like I'm a very indecisive person and I feel like I kind of let the moment kind of speak for itself. And also I like to always ask my couples, like when you look back at your photos, whether it's just engagement or whether it's like wedding, no matter what it is, I like to try to get a feel for like what they want. So do you want whimsical? Do you want fun? Do you want romantic? Do you want soulful? Just to kind of get like an idea of what they want, because I feel like that creative vision that I produce after that kind of gets to come through and kind of get seen through the photos, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So my style, I don't really know.
What about like editing style?
Maybe just maybe a little cold, true to color sometimes. Sometimes it's warm. It also kind of like depends on the vibe. Like if I'm vibing like a really like dramatic shadow or it's like very dependent on like what I feel like the moment calls for, as well as what the client's vision is. So like in regards to that, maybe like for like a reception, maybe I'll do like direct flash or a little more like diffused, or I don't know. I just feel like boxing yourself in kind of like limits your creativeness. So somebody saying like, I only do this, or like, this is my style, I feel like it kind of like limits them. And, I am just, like I said, I'm very indecisive. So I like to just kind of do what the mood calls for, what the client's vision is, what my vision is. And yeah, luckily I have clients that are like, not too restrictive. Like I want this exact photo or I want this exact pose. It's nothing like that. But it gives me the creative freedom to let their organic chemistry come like through the photos.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. And I love that you have the conversation with them ahead of time. Yeah. Because I also just like everything I do is not cookie cutter posing. Like every couple gets the exact same thing, but I more just get the vibe of the couple. So I like that you have that conversation before, because like for me, it's like I just get their personalities from the FaceTime we have and the questionnaires and whatever. But actually talking to them, I might steal that from you.
Yeah, you should, absolutely. And I feel like it really just creates like an extra layer of dynamic to the interaction as well. So different like prompts, like it will kind of like produce different prompts or different I don't know, just like flow within the session as well. So of course it's like engagement photos and like wedding it's all about like celebrating them. So I want it to feel organically like them.
That's so sweet. I just
Yeah.
adore you. So today we're talking about documentary style photography and what that means, because that is the ultimate wedding photography buzzword right now.
It's such a buzzword.
Everybody is a documentary style photographer,
I know.
but that means something different to everybody. So when you are hiring a photographer and they say they're documentary style, you need to ask them what that means to them and their business.
That's a really good point, actually.
Because it's all different.
Yeah.
So, a client might be looking for documentary style. And what they mean by that is they want somebody who's absolutely not going to give them any direction. They're going to just do like fly on the wall style and not give any direction at all. That's, honestly, technically, I think that is what documentary style photography is you're literally just there to document it. You're not there to alter things. You're photographing it exactly as the day actually played out with no interjections at all. That's the wine.
That's the wine.
But I think the majority of documentary style photographers do give direction.
Yeah.
So to me, and then I'll ask you your definition too, if it's different from mine. To me, documentary style photography means that I know when to step in and when to be a fly on the wall. So I'm never going to fake a moment. I'm never going to make somebody redo something because we could have done it better. I've worked with videographers before who are like, let's redo the first look because I want to get another angle. And I'm just like, I would never be able to do that.
A first look?
Yeah, exactly.
God, I would cringe
really
at that.
Yeah, I have a whole story behind this guy that I'm going to talk about eventually. But
ooh, I can't wait to hear.
Spicy. Yeah, like documentary style to me doesn't mean just fly on the wall, because clients aren't normally comfortable in front of a camera. Most of my clients, the first time they're ever in front of a camera is their engagement session. Yeah. And I'll like tell them from the jump and just be like, okay, this is what I do. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do, but I'm going to give you direction to where you know that you don't have a double chin, you know that your leg isn't weird, and you know that your arm isn't weird. Like, those are the things those girls care about. So, but it's a lot of human interaction still. It's them interacting with each other, not super awkward Pinterest poses.
And to make like another point in addition to that, if it's a destination wedding, then you don't get that luxury of like having that like beforehand, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, like the engagement session. Yeah. I've done a good amount of weddings where I don't meet the clients before, but we'll do like, the FaceTime, the phone call, whatever it is, so that I always want people to feel like we're friends when I show up on the wedding day, because it makes it so much easier. I spend the entire day with the bride and groom. Exactly. So I want them to not feel like I'm just some stranger showing up on their wedding day. And you and I have really similar personalities where we're just like bubbly and we're here for everything. But yeah, I don't know. I guess my definition is I give direction when it's needed so that people don't feel uncomfortable, but I'm never going to fake a moment, and I'm going to let the authentic emotional moments play out. Yeah. Do you feel?
I think it's really important to note the difference between like true documentary, like you said, is I'm just going to sit here and let you guys do your thing. Now, with that, I feel like what a lot of people don't realize is that could mean really unfavorable backgrounds, really unfavorable positions. And the photos that they're seeing on Pinterest, on Facebook, on Instagram of documentary style could have very easily been positioned in that way to tell a story, which is kind of where I feel my style kind of steps in. So I would not call myself documentary by any means. Maybe.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Maybe like candid, to a certain degree. I do like candid moments. However, I feel like I storytell more than I feel I agree with you with documentary being more of like fly on the wall. But as far as, like moments, I wouldn't say like how things unfold. I would not consider myself documentary. For example, mom helping bride get the dress on. I'm going to put them in a good lighting situation. Like if there's a really nice window, if they've cleared out space, I'll position them and, that sort of thing, let them have their moment. But I set them up like that. That's not documentary, Right. In addition to that, so first looks, the only thing I direct for a first look is the direction that they turn and the location that we kind of like stand at. Other than that, I let them have their own moment.
Yeah.
So maybe other people would consider that as documentary, but because I'm putting them there, because I'm directing them slightly,
Yeah.
because I am kind of just like their little cheerleader in the back quietly. I don't think I would consider myself documentary. I don't know. Maybe other people would say differently, but I
think so. But
yeah.
I like that you called it storytelling, because I think that does make more sense. And it's not going to most clients are looking for a photographer that is documentary style, because that's the buzzword.
Exactly.
So it's like you have to have it somewhere on your website. But the storytelling does make sense, because that is more of what we're doing when, like, my definition of documentary style is storytelling.
Yeah.
And even with the like first look, like you mentioned, it's still an emotional moment. Everything's still real. Most of my first looks, I try to do like them coming out of a door or something, so it's not just like the tap and turn around, which is fine. Like the tap and turn around turns out good. It feels a little bit more organic, but it's not always aesthetic is the problem, and like the good lighting and whatever. And that's what the clients want.
Yeah.
And I think the other problem with documentary style is clients have expectations in their head of the photos they're going to get because of social media and Pinterest. And if it's true documentary fly on the wall style, you're not going to get those photos necessarily, unless you're naturally, like, if someone who's already a photographer or a graphic designer or someone who has that artistic eye, if they're doing like their own wedding and whatever, they know like, oh, let me clean this up first. But most of my clients, I have to ask the bridesmaids, can you clear out this corner? Like nobody's thinking about that.
Exactly. I think that's a really good point to make, because people typically, like you said, Instagram and things like that give them this preconceived notion that if I just organically interact with my mom putting on my dress, this is what it's going to look like. When in reality, it is not.
Because let me tell you, I've looked at candid photography on Pinterest, searched that because I want to know. I love knowing what the competition is doing.
Yeah.
I like improving myself and whatever. And most of it's posed, and us photographers can tell, but clients can't.
Exactly.
And, you know, like I was saying with the double chins and whatever, like I'll tell the bride, okay, you know, hold your hands like this or whatever. And I don't over direct to where it's like, okay, now smile, don't forget to smile. And you feel like it's a family photo shoot and it's chaotic and whatever. I'm very calm in those moments and just personable. But everybody wants to know that you're going to look the best on camera. Like most people have anxiety about how they're going to be perceived. So I want to put people at ease.
Yeah.
And even like back to the first look and talking about it being like an authentic moment. Like with the first look, I'll tell the clients before they turn around and see each other, I'm like, okay, I want both of you to ground yourselves. Listen to, like if we're in nature, I'm like, listen to the birds, listen to the wind, and take 3 deep breaths. And then you can tell him when to turn around. Yeah. That way it's just like, they know it's not about the photos, and the wedding happens so quickly. So it's like, okay, this is a moment you're going to remember forever. Yeah. Just pause for a second and be like, okay. And then do it.
That's so important too, because with the rush of a wedding morning leading up to that. Okay. I'm waking up. Okay. I'm doing this. Hair and makeup's here. Okay. I'm doing this. Okay. My bridesmaids are asking me a million questions. Okay. Okay. Now I'm doing this, this, and this. Okay. And then it's just almost doing it to do it. So I really like that you pause and you encourage them to soak it in, because that go, everything can feel like that. And so I really like how you said like ground, listen to the birds and all that. I'm more like, you know, take this moment. I'm going to let you guys, I'm going to step way back. I'm going to let you guys share organically. And I'm going to, you know, but just like enjoy each other. Yeah. You know, as opposed to like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to blah, 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 rush through it, because then that's one more thing that they're just trying to get done. Yeah. So, which I don't think that that's right. I don't think that that's like, it's not conducive to like them enjoying their wedding day. You know what I mean? So I mean,
clients spend so much money on their wedding day. They put hours and hours, if not like a year and a half, 2 years into planning the wedding. And then it's over within 8 hours. Yeah. So I want people to actually be present in the wedding day, which is why I give everybody like a little pep talk before each moment. Like the bride and dad, the first look, the dad is always like, what's the first look? Like he has no idea what's going on. So I'll talk to him. I'll be like, this isn't about photos. Like I will be here taking photos. Ignore me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is 5 minutes. You and your daughter, you can give her advice. You can hug her. She won't break. Like whatever you want to do, just like forget about the photos. This is a moment she's really looking forward to and wanted a special moment with you.
Yeah.
And then the dad is like way more likely to cry because he's not like, what are we doing right now?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's important too, like culturally or like age different wise, like they don't know what a
because it's
like
trendy for us.
Exactly. But, dads aren't on like Instagram like, oh look, they did a first look together. Like dads aren't doing
wedding dads. They're my favorite because they're like they're always nervous and have just like this energy of I have no idea what's going on, but like they're willing to do whatever.
I know. I literally had one the other day. I was seconding for Casey, and there was this dad. He was like literally rearranging the floor plan because certain people weren't coming. So he's like, let's just redo everything. And I'm like, Dad, my man, like you gotta chill. This is like your, son's day. Like you just soak it in. You don't need to be doing dad things. Like you're good.
But I think documentary style is just being able to facilitate those moments in a way that feels organic for couples to where they don't feel like they're on a day-long photo shoot. Like my nightmare is that clients would feel like their like their wedding was a photo shoot.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So I think there are a lot of posed moments.
Yeah.
But our job is to be skilled at posing to where they're actually genuinely having fun.
Exactly.
They're interacting with each other. I'm like having them walk together and hip bump a little bit, like try to knock her over or whatever. I don't do like tacky prompts, but that felt shady. It works for some people. If you do silly, goofy prompts, like I know it works for you. And that's
I do silly, goofy prompts.
Yeah. Do you do like the like whisper your favorite cereal like sensually into her ear?
Maybe like sometimes if I know they're like having a very hard time, like if I can't like get them to be like organic, and I don't want my couples that like that I do that with be like, oh my God, is that why you did it? Like sometimes I just like to see the reaction. But like if I feel like they're having a hard time, sometimes I will definitely do that. And it's not to say like, you're not good at taking photos. Like I want you to just have fun. Like it's not about somebody being good or bad at taking photos. It's more so like I personally, when I had my engagement photos done prior to being a wedding photographer, I was a ball of stress. So I am so thankful for my photographer who did amazing with me and my husband, who was also a nervous ball of stress he was like stressing hard. But I want to make other people feel comfortable. So by whatever means necessary, if somebody's whispering like their favorite pizza topping in a seductive voice, like we're going to do it. Cause like, I just want them to be like super comfy, but it does go like a little bit deeper than that, of course. Like, if I feel like they need, like a little extra help or like I want to do something different or more soulful or something like that, then absolutely. But
and you said you get a gauge of your clients' personalities. So if somebody's a silly goose and like would be comfortable doing that versus like I had a client one time, she at the beginning of the session, she was like, we aren't really giggly, smiley people. So I don't really want to do any photos of us smiling. Yeah. And if you follow me on Instagram, most of my photos are giggly, smiley. Yeah. Like that's the type of client I typically attract. But it was really fun for me because I was like, this isn't something I normally do. And so like all of my prompts and posing and whatever was more like editorial and like serious and fun. It was like such a good time. I had the best time.
I love an editorial vibe. Yes. And I will say that's another thing. Like I don't just do like one thing or the other. Like I love to mix it up. So I don't feel like anybody should put themselves like in a box or like say, oh, I only do like this or that. I feel like it's fun to do everything.
Okay. So also going with documentary style, before we go too far down our rabbit hole, if you listen to the last episode, we went down some hard rabbit holes.
Rabbit holes squared.
We love rabbits.
We love rabbits.
But going back to documentary style and the difference between like your typical photographer, someone documentary style, whatever, is getting those in between moments too. So like your typical photographer, you're going to get the bride coming down the aisle, the first kiss, them coming back down together. Yeah. But somebody who's doing more storytelling or documentary style, they're also capturing mom crying while you're coming down the aisle, getting the bridesmaids crying, getting detail shots of the bridesmaids' bouquets, like the little kid that's whatever and the sitting in the chairs during, just being silly, like getting that photo and like all of those little moments that happen on a wedding day outside of just those key moments, I think is the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't agree more because I cannot tell you how many clients like, and I actually might get emotional about this because I love my job. I really do. I might get emotional.
Oh my gosh.
Really, like this. For real.
It's the wine.
I'm going to say it's the wine. It's not the wine. I'm a crier. I don't know if you're watching this, and you probably know I'm a crier. I love my job. I'm very thankful to do my job. And I cannot tell you how many people have complimented me. Like, you captured moments, number one, I thought would go unseen. Mm-hmm. Number two, that means so much to me. One, the groom was dancing with his mom, and it was actually audio from a video recording that that when he danced with his mom when he was young, like he was a little kid, and somebody had like at-home video of him dancing with his mom, and they played it. And when she first heard it, she was like, you could see the kind of like, she looked puzzled, she could just see it. Like, she was like, what is that noise? And then you kind of hear him singing, and then she's just like, the tears go, and I'm crying, and they're dancing, and then dad's there, dad's crying, I'm getting dad's reaction, I'm getting everybody's reaction, and it was just such a beautiful moment to capture, like this full circle moment of
do it, cry. Oh, you're so cute.
But have this full circle moment of, you're dancing with your child, and then, like that. Yeah. They're grown, they're married, and now you're dancing with them at their wedding to that same song. Mm. And it was just so beautiful, and like getting everybody's reaction. And she emailed me, and I'll never forget, like, she was so thankful for capturing everybody's reaction to that. So it's more than just capturing those moments that we get them posed. Mm-hmm. It is those in between moments, because those are the ones the bride and groom, they don't get to see, or the couple, they don't get to see everything. They can't, they only have like this much time to enjoy, like with each other, to greet people. But those in between moments, whether it be people laughing at cocktail, whether it be, people crying like their aunt, watching somebody give a speech and crying, or the family friend who, was pregnant, like your moms were pregnant together with each other. Mm-hmm. Like I had that recently, and that was so moving to me to take that photo of them together, like the four of them, like, and they were basically doing like a reenactment of like when they were in their bellies, like the moms had, them in the bellies, and now they're all grown up. And it's just like these full circle moments. And I feel like it's so easy to get like very very jaded. Like, we work so many weddings, we do it all the time, but like these are iconic moments in their lives, and we have the absolute honor and pleasure to document them. And in moments, like I had mentioned before, moments that they don't get to see because they're busy doing everything else. Exactly. So when they're going through their gallery, they're like, wow, this is such a special moment. I'm so happy you got this.
Yeah, I'm going to get even more sad and sentimental here because you're so right. And that's like the driving force behind what I do. Yeah. So my grandma passed from COVID. And, I'm like going back on my camera roll, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't have that many photos of her. Oh. And that was just so heartbreaking for me. And then, so like that's something for my clients. I'm like, I want to provide you with all of these photos of your loved ones. Like I try to make sure I get 2 to 3 photos of each guest, whether that's like candid or, like the first dance with the mom or whatever. And now I'm going to cry. I've had multiple brides whose mothers have passed after the wedding. And no, I know. And so they email me and they're like, I just want to thank you for all of the photos you got of me and my mom because she passed like last month or whatever unexpectedly. And you're the last person to photograph her. I'm just like, oh my God. I know.
That is so hard.
Now we're both crying on the pod.
Now we're both crying.
But it is sad, but it's so inspiring to me because like what a wonderful thing that, I've gotten into this industry and everything in my life has led me to where it is. And like my strength is that documentary style. I love my post couples portraits. I love all of the key moments on a wedding day, but like the most touching thing to me is getting the photos of your loved ones and everybody interacting on the wedding day and you
1000%.
Hugging your grandma. My favorite moment, I tell like all of my clients this, I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but the moment right after the ceremony when the family members surround the bride and groom and she's showing off her ring set and everybody's crying and hugging.
Yes.
Like that is ultimate.
Yes.
I will not stop. My shutter is like clicking because that is like ultimate real emotion.
Yeah.
I love the little grandmas. They're always so sweet in those moments. But and then it's like I don't know if you've gotten the same experience, but like I've been doing this almost 8 years and I've gotten so many emails like this loved one passed, like thank you. And I always cry. I always go back and look at their gallery and like find all of the photos of this person. And I'm like sobbing. And I think it's such a sweet and like magical thing that I was able to provide that for people. And like the fact that this is my job and I get paid for it is absolutely insane to me every day. Yeah. Because I feel like I'm hanging out with friends.
Literally, yeah.
And it is hard work, but it's so fulfilling.
It is. Both of those things. It's hard work and it's also fulfilling. I fortunately haven't gotten emails like that, but I did photograph like a family reunion, like my husband's family. Oh, cool. And since then, like several of his family members have passed away.
Oh, so so you have a similar experience.
Yeah, but it's like it's more at home because his dad, my father-in-law, will be like, this person passed away, and then I'll go and like find those photos and send them, and it's very sad, and like, especially like on a wedding day when it's supposed to be like, the happiest day of your life. Mm-hmm. And then that's the last time you have a photo with that person. That's really hard.
Well, like the saying is the only time everybody gets together is weddings and funerals.
That's right.
And I think about that before I go to every wedding, which again sounds morbid, but before every wedding, I think about how any time all of your family is together is either your wedding or your funeral. Yeah. And I want to capture as many photos of these people because the next time they're all together might be a funeral. Right. And I want the happy memories over the grieving, sad. Yeah.
Absolutely. And catch them at their finest because everybody's going to be a vibe. Everybody's going to be vibing and they look good. Everybody's going to be vibing and they look good. So you got to get everybody. Absolutely.
I like this. We're bringing it back to a happier note.
And see how that transition goes, and we're going to keep it live.
Take the tears away. So when you were starting out, you second shot before you did any weddings?
More so, yes. And more so like, third shot and like also even what's the word? Like shadowing. Mm-hmm. So I had reached out to a bunch of local photographers and I was like, hey, I'm new. Can I just like be a fly on the wall? Because I wanted to learn. Yeah. And, most people wouldn't give me the time of day. Mm-hmm. Some people would send me a link to their mentorship program.
Which is what I'm about to start doing.
Which is cool. Like absolutely 1000%. But like as a new person, like I knew nothing about weddings at the time, except for what I had experienced at my own wedding. It was like difficult for me to find anybody that would just give me the time of day. So there were a few people, very thankful for those few people, that basically brought me on as, I keep hitting this thing, I'm really sorry. You're good. As like a second or third shooter. And I was very, very blessed to meet a few people that really just like took me under their wing.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that's hard to find.
It is hard to find. I was very, very lucky. And I'm very, very thankful for you. You know who you are. But yeah, so also very lucky to have like very close friends that are also photographers. One historically did weddings. Now she just like primarily focuses on like families and stuff. And she is like my biggest she's an angel.
Aw.
But she's back home in Florida. So, I love her. But yeah, so just like started off asking people to just kind of like watch what they did. And also, do you know who Caitlin James is?
I don't think so.
She's my hero. She's my absolute hero. Every single piece of any like education, anything that you would ever want to know is on YouTube.
Wait, does she have red hair?
She does have red hair.
Yeah, I've seen her YouTube.
Yes,
Yeah. She's been very helpful. I'm trying to learn
Yes.
Imagine AI, and she has like a couple videos of that.
She's a slay. She's a slay. If somebody wanted to start photography from the ground up or start a business from the ground up, or you, of course, so you're starting an education course.
Yeah, but
who am I talking about this right now?
They can go to her. They can
go to Caitlin James, or they can go to you.
They can do both.
They can do both.
Yeah.
But I also think like wholeheartedly, YouTube University.
That's what I'm saying. There's so much information out there for free.
For free. Yes. 1000%.
Yeah, I've talked about this too on the most recent episode, which won't be the most recent once this comes out. But the episode about second shooting, that a lot of people will message me and be like, "Hey, can I get you a cup of coffee and talk about wedding photography?" Like, I want to
do that.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
No. Like,
Can I get you a cup of coffee, or how about send me your portfolio?
Right. It's like, here's $8. Give me your entire knowledge. I'm just like, I'm busy. Like, I don't know about you, but I work like 40 to 80 hours a week, depending on wedding season and what I'm doing.
I'm working till 3 a.m. daily.
Yeah, like I'm a hustler.
We hustling out here.
I'm just like, I'm not going to meet with you for coffee for like 2 to 3 hours to whatever. So like, yeah, all to say, there are a million resources out there, whether you want a paid mentorship and like that one-on-one, or pay for a course. And there's no excuse.
There's no excuse. Yeah, exactly. And that is 1000% the thing. Like if you find yourself struggling and you have not utilized all your resources, YouTube, literally anything and everything, I'm going to say it's you. I'm going to say it's you, because there are so many. It's a lack of motivation. Yeah. It's a lack of drive. Because when I say from the time that I legally started my business to like recognized by the state to the time I went full time, it was 9 months. Yeah. And that was because the drive that I had was, it's discipline. It's self-discipline. You're disciplining yourself. That's a good word. I knew one person here, my sister-in-law. Of course, like aside from my husband's like whole family. When I say whole family, let me start over. The only people I knew when I moved here was my husband's family. And my sister-in-law, 2 of her friends are now my brides. One of which I've already photographed her wedding, and the other is coming up. Aside from those 2 people, every single client I have ever had here, I built my client base on my own. I like, not from having friends here, not from like any other way than like organically marketing myself. And I say all that to say, if you are, sorry, I had a hair on my face. Oh my gosh. I say all of that to say, if you aren't like getting to where you want to be in your business, it is 1000% your fault.
Ooh, hot take.
Ooh, it's a hot take. And I'm really sorry to say that, but it's 1000% your fault, because there is no limit. There are Facebook groups upon Facebook groups of people looking for photographers.
I preach Facebook groups.
Yes.
I think every episode I've mentioned Facebook groups.
There is free marketing, and that is called social media. There are Pinterest is a whole other thing. It is a beast of just a search engine. Yeah. That the posts last 4 months. Their lifespan is 4 months, as opposed to Facebook, which is like a day. Right. There are so many limitless resources out there for anybody that wants to be full-time photographer, be a full-time photographer, grow their business, scale their business is the buzzword. You want to scale their business. There are so many resources out there. And if you are stuck in this place, there are ways to change it, and there are ways to grow. And if you aren't meeting those goals, definitely something's got to change, you know?
Right. Well, and I can completely speak to that because, and I've mentioned this in the first episode, but when I was starting out, I floundered for the first 4 years because I wasn't taking it seriously. And it was 100% my fault. I hardly posted on Instagram. I wasn't connecting with other vendors. Like I wasn't doing any advertising. Like it was all mistakes.
Yeah.
And had I taken it more seriously, like as soon as I started being like, okay, I'm going to post on social media, like COVID happened and my business blew up because I was posting. I'm very fortunate. I'm like one of very few people.
It's usually the opposite.
Right. Yeah.
That's
very
amazing.
Thankful. Yeah. Like I'm so lucky. Like I know that like humbly I am talented, but so are thousands.
I know I'm talented. We know we're talented.
Thousands of other people though, you know, and they didn't have the same experience. I know a lot of like established photographers struggled and lost a lot of money. So I was very lucky.
Can I just say, anybody that ran a business during COVID, I have all my hats off to you because.
And I hope you got a PPP loan.
I don't even know what that is, but I hope you got it.
It was good.
So I started my business after COVID, and so I never knew what that was like, but I have heard so many podcasts, so many wedding photographers experience something vastly different than you did. I am so glad that you had a good result of all of that.
I was so quiet about it too, because I'm seeing everybody else like freaked out and scared. I'm just like, I'm doing really well.
Sorry about that.
Like my 2021 is like booked up right now. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up the documentary style. One other thing I forgot to mention is Kristen is a part of Wild Society's team, which is my second company that does weddings.
Yes.
She is incredible. I'm so excited to work with you. You're just literally the best and so good with clients. And it's a match made in heaven, honestly. I love being excited about all of my team members. And as soon as I met her, she was just like bubbly. She matches, as you can tell from the podcast, she just matches my energy. And that's so important to me when working with my clients. And it's fabulous. So yeah, anything else you want to add before we wrap up the episode?
No, I'm just so thankful that you asked me to come and be on the episode and that you asked me to join you and that you thought to ask me. I thought that was really sweet. So thank you so much for having me.
Yes. We actually met over FaceTime initially. And how long were we on there? Like at least an hour and a half. Like it was a long chat.
We're rambling girls.
We love to, obviously we're on the podcast now. Like we love to talk. But yeah, as soon as I met her within like 5 minutes, I was like, oh, this is good.
This is good.
All right. So tell people where they can find you again.
So you can find me at inbloomphotography.nc.com or at inbloomphotography.nc on Instagram, Pinterest, and all the things.
TikTok?
I don't have a TikTok. I'm not a TikTok girl. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's fine.
So everything except for TikTok, I mean.
And then you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at 1828 Collective. You can find more about the podcast and photo education at 1828 Photo Education.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop. All right. Thank you guys again for joining, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.